Well, thank you, Mr. Chair and Ranking Member, and good morning to you both. Thank you for being here. I wanted to start with a question for you, Mr. Glawe. DHS was created in part to ensure that all Homeland Security-related functions of the government were housed under one roof. And in doing so, Congress and the Bush administration endeavored to create the conditions by which Homeland Security-related information and intelligence was more effectively shared between each of the agencies. The DHS Office of Intelligence and Analysis was empowered to help facilitate this intelligence sharing between DHS components. However, the undersecretaries that have come before you have encountered resistance from DHS components in achieving full information and intelligence sharing within the broader DHS. As the former head of CBP's intelligence office, you had a front row seat to this dynamic between components and the DHS Office of Intelligence and Analysis. So what steps will you take to ensure that DHS components are fully sharing intelligence with the DHS Office of Intelligence and Analysis?
Senator, thank you for the question, and thank you for meeting with me prior to my testimony today. I am uniquely postured to answer that question because I did lead the largest component in DHS intelligence enterprise. And a couple things that my predecessor, if confirmed, would have was Undersecretary Taylor developed a mission manager approach and integration approach of bringing in the operational components, the intelligence apparatus, under a collaboration type environment, a business enterprise. I anticipate to facilitate and move forward with that model even further. Okay. There's a tremendous opportunity within the components, intelligence functions, their data collection, their human source networks, their law enforcement collection on the aircraft they fly or the marine environment they collect on, and partnership with the intelligence community partners of the Admiral's prior organization, the Coast Guard. It's going to be a business model of integration. When I was with Customs and Border Protection, I did stand that up within a 60,000+ organization under a field intelligence FIG model, which was similar to what I learned under the FBI and the Director of National Intelligence, Jim Clapper. It's going to be a similar type model. So I'm not creating something new. I'm tweaking what's already been out there that works for other organizations, but it's going to be a big machine and a heavy lift, and I look forward to partnering with the committee, if confirmed, on helping to do that as a partnership.
Well, thank you very much, and I enjoyed the meeting with you in my office as well. Vice Admiral, I wanted to touch with you a little bit on an issue that I know others have asked questions about already today, which was about the morale in both of the agencies that you are nominated to lead. But I wanted to follow up with you, Vice Admiral, because one of the questions that the TSA morale issue really begs is the way they're treated compared to other federal employees, right? So would you consider making TSA employees full-fledged federal employees who enjoy all of the same benefits as all other civil servants do?
Senator, thank you for the question, and it's good to see you again. I would really like to get a feel myself for the issues that the workforce faces. And as I said in the opening statement, and I said to you in our office meeting several weeks ago, I intend to spend, if confirmed, a great deal of my time out in the field understanding this issue, because I think it's critically important to be able to address. And then I'm open to looking at any option that would address it. I think fundamentally, the issue can be largely addressed through leadership at all levels of the organization. And Senator Langford mentioned that some airports have different levels of performance than others. Well, that's something that we measure and we can look at and try to drill down and figure out, okay, why is that? Is it a facility issue that might be hindering the job satisfaction of the employees? Is it constraints on the facility, technology, or is it something else? And that's something that I really want to pay an awful lot of attention and get to the root of, because being at the very bottom of employee satisfaction is not where I want to be. And really, from my Coast Guard experience, we're used to being at the other end.
Well, and I thank you for that answer. What I'd ask you to talk to TSA employees about, as I have, is the fact that they are uniquely positioned as non-civil servants, and it results in high turnover. It results in a lot of other issues that I think are fundamental to some of the morale issues. So if you just would commit to talking with them about that and considering it, it would be very helpful.
Yes, Senator, I would definitely talk with them about that. I want to understand that issue much better than I do today.
Thank you. And one last question, again for you, Mr. Glawe. As the office in charge of analyzing the threat to homeland from ISIS and al-Qaeda-inspired terrorism, the DHS Office of Intelligence and Analysis plays an important role in helping to understand the recruitment propaganda that is intended to leverage homegrown terrorist attacks within the United States. Given your experience as a local law enforcement officer, as FBI counterterrorism agent, and as an intelligence official, what's the best way for the U.S. government to go about preventing the recruitment of our young people by these groups?
Senator, thank you for the question. And I have thought about that problem or that threat for years in discussion with partnerships in the intelligence community and law enforcement. At the very tip of the answer would be an integrated approach with law enforcement, the private sector, the communities at the lowest common denominator. I was a community police officer when I first started in Houston almost 25 years ago, is integration with the community, conversations with the communities that are at risk, and developing those partnerships. It's not going to be solved by the intelligence community. It's not going to be solved by law enforcement. It's not going to be solved by the private sector or the communities alone. It's going to be a partnership. And what I've seen the success is at identifying violent acts or violent activity in communities is a community-based approach. Now, we have a challenge with the online caliphate. And that's a whole different set of challenges as well, as how do we create an infrastructure in protecting civil liberties, but also identifying those risks as well. But it's a consolidated approach, and the communities, to me, in partnership with local law enforcement and local leadership is the key point. And we've seen success in the Somali communities in the U.S. back in close in 2010. So if confirmed, I look forward to working on that very tough problem.
Well, I thank you for that. And I just wanted to follow up very quickly. A few weeks ago, this committee heard testimony from the former director of the National Counterterrorism Center, Mike Leiter, who spoke about the need for the U.S. government to embrace what I think you're describing an engagement strategy with communities across the country in order to prevent the possibility of homegrown terrorist attacks. I know I'm out of time, but I'd like you to think about maybe we could follow up what offices should be the tip of the spear for that particular effort. Thank you.